been looking for that way back in to true renewal and rediscovering ever since what you could say the glory days of White Ladder, which was a bit of an experiment. I'd had a damn good crack at making the kind of, if you like, old-fashioned type of record that I'd always hankered to make. But this time around, I knew I was up for something completely different. I didn't know what it was, and it took me a long time to alight on the correct perch. And that was Andy Barlow in this case. We worked so quickly, you know, the singing parts were just thrown down, and I love to work fast. So before I could start working it out, I was just feeling for things. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, but that line doesn't work. Change that one. So as you start to go on making records, the thing that you do becomes the thing that's in the way. The sound of your own voice being one. But how to get around that? I think the way that was counteracted was that when the real creativity started and an idea suddenly grabbed us, we worked so fast. We were ahead of the breaking wave the whole time. So that sort of consciousness, swamping something of ownership, making it yours, that's how you escape that. Working with Andy was just totally unfussy. So it never became a thing that I was dwelling upon. My performance, how did I sing that? In the past, I might have gone for another 5 takes. If it sounded good, just like, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, we've got that.
Won't lead past us this time. The incredible is approaching from over there. It won't lead past us. We won't be left in a dark veil to watch it go. It won't lead past us.
Sick of my own shtick, my angle, the 40-something vague complaint about being alive. It's like, that just won't wash. Life is such a splendid and abundant thing, I just want to reflect that. Whether I do it through terms of heartache or whatever, the joy must override all things. The joy of making and the joy of being. Otherwise, I don't want to do it, unless that's shining at the heart of it. I came into the thing and I had these sort of preconceptions. These songs sit together, these seem kind of like they should be an album. And then they've got these weird esoteric ones. I don't know what to do with them. Maybe I'll make a more esoteric kind of underplayed record here. And he said, oh, but I think those are beautiful songs, Dave. The Incredible. He said, well, that's got to be on the main record. And I was like, yeah? You think it could be on the main record? He was like, well, of course it could. You just said it was the song you were most excited about. I was stuck in a rut. I've been subverted by the process that I've had to go through and the hoops I've had to jump through, but I couldn't even see it. So I thought I was being logical, but what's logic got to do with it? The most blatantly obvious things of all were staring me in the face and I couldn't even see them. That was a very liberating thing, to have someone on my side that's going, fuck off, it's fucking beautiful. You know, beauty wins, we put it on. It's like, of course it fucking does. How could I have forgotten that? That you can't see the wood for the trees and then suddenly you see the abundant splendor of being and that comes pouring out again. And that's what the best music is, surely. what a fucking day. Fantastic day like today. Catching mackerel on the boat on the way out, and the skipper Buzz Bland, he had a frying pan, breadcrumbs, a bag of white sliced bread and butter. That was breakfast. Salt and pepper. Yeah, off the hook, gutted, filleted, breadcrumbs fried on your plate 5 minutes after having come out of the sea. It's the nicest thing I've ever eaten in my whole life. And then we went out round Skomer and Skoko, where there were seals, puffins, guillemots, gannets, storm petrels, shearwaters. It was blew my mind completely.
This land belongs to the ghosts, and the ghosts to the cry, and the cry to the wind, and the wind belongs to none. The wind belongs to no one.
This island belongs to the gulls. A poem by Herman de Koning. I was given a book of bird poetry for Christmas. I get a lot of these kind of things. And after the initial, oh God, another book of bird poetry, I opened it one day, rainy day, and was leafing through it. And there was the usual stuff in there, most of which I'd read before. But then there was this one poem, sort of haiku-esque in its simplicity. And that arrested me immediately, and I guess a certain music began to stir just on first reading. And then I determined that I was going to actually try and put it to music, and I went downstairs and just began to look for melody and chords, and don't really remember anything about it, but all I remember is I worked all day from about 9 o'clock in the morning and didn't stop making the thing until about 6 o'clock at night, at which point I sort of made myself a cup of tea and pressed play, and suddenly saw what had happened and was blown away by it.
The writings on the writings on the writings on the wall. The writings on the writings on the writings on the wall. The writings on the writings on the wall.
How it works in relation to the screens, you know what I mean?
The only way to
A lot of the credit has to go to Andy as a custodian of this venture. I'd written 40 or 50 songs going into it, out of which we probably only used half a dozen. He would tear songs out from under me, and we'd end up with just a little bit. Mutineers, the title track, is the greatest example of this. The chord sequence that you hear as Mutineers was just this little section that would lead back into a verse each time. And I said, well, what about the verse and what about the chorus? Yeah, let's just put we put them. We got those. Let's put them to one side. But where does that leave us? I said, I don't have any lyrics or anything. I don't have a melody. And so that was the way that he worked. He heard something and then led me away and tore up my song in front of my eyes. And suddenly all I was left with was the chord sequence, and I was beginning again. So when the making then continued with a little bit of lyrics to sort of inspire us on, and then suddenly a melodic structure emerged, and that's like we turned on an electromagnet, and all these iron filings just went vroom, and suddenly, like from nowhere, we had no drums at this point, no bass, no nothing. It was just all the parts I played. But Andy's aesthetic was very much about a self-created thing. So I played all the piano parts, 4 or 5 piano parts, 4 or 5 guitar parts, and he'd layer them in a really beautiful way. He had a great ear for it. And then the vocals on top.
I want all my cake and eat it. I want all my cake and eat it. And I want all my cake and eat it. I want all my. And I want all my.
When you did the tour in Ireland, it seemed like you were just in a place that that I really wished you were going to be always, you know, which is that you can allow yourself to really believe in something so much that, you know, as you say, you just want to give it back and you want to give it out, and that's rare these days, really.
And as any jaunt into the unknown is always a wonderful thing. There was something about that tour. I found myself even singing the old songs in a new way, just being in a different way. I think understatement is the key that's unlocking things for me. My voice and the way that I play. I'm a bit of a ham-fisted player, and it's taken 20 odd years for me to calm down to the point that I'm at now, where I feel like there's actually some sensitivity there.
For the first time in that is the long year, the wonderful Mr. David Gray.
Learning to play, there's no getting round hours and hours and hours and hours of playing on stage in rehearsal, at home, practice, and being a better musician, playing with better musicians like the guys in the band. They're much more accomplished than I. But together we get to a place where none of us knew we could get to. We can suddenly do things as a second nature and sing that I couldn't do at all 5 years ago. But not only that, learning always that just taking the foot off the accelerator is probably the key. Don't hit it so hard, it sounds more sweet. By the time we got to the end of mixing, I didn't want to listen to the record.
Yeah.
And did the Irish tour, came back, still didn't want to listen to the record. I thought, that's okay. And then it was after the London shows, only then did I sort of grant myself the experience of hearing it all again and connecting with it. And I got very excited. I was dancing around, enjoying it. I won't listen to it again now, do you know what I mean, unless it happens by accident. Now it's over, now I have to go out and become it. I think that stops a lot of people from finishing things.
Yeah. The idea of the end.
I love the idea of the end. I'm like, I can already see the future. Why would I want to hang around here indefinitely? There's even better stuff maybe around the corner, who knows? So, yeah.
The end.